guys, welcome to the wonderful world of, you know what it is. All right, so we're going to talk about some basic information, stuff you need to know. So this is usually one of my first lectures I usually give to all my students. Those that understand this information, I'm sure there's always something you can always get from it, okay? So we're going to talk about two main types of welds. The first type of weld is a groove weld. The other one is a fillet weld. A fillet weld is more of an external weld, okay? It's like joining two pieces, one that's horizontal and one that's vertical. And when we look at the profile of this weld, it makes a triangle, okay? The groove weld, on the other hand, though, is more like welding two beams together, okay? And it's more of an internal weld, if we can see that. And both of these are either going to be horizontal or vertical, okay? They're both going to be in the same orientation, okay? So the welds, when we look at them, they're going to mimic the shape of their profile. If it's a butt joint or a square groove, or if we look at this one, this is a V groove. So we're going to call it a V groove, okay? So now that we understand that, let's talk about the parts of the weld. So let's first look at the fillet weld, okay? So a fillet weld is two pieces that are joined like this. Right here is the root of the weld. Whether I have one pass or several passes, this will always be the root. This is where the two pieces meet, and this is my first pass. Okay, right here and right here are the toes. This is where my weld meets my base material. Okay, from the root to the toe, and from the root to the toe is a leg. So this is a leg size. Okay, and a fillet weld is measured by the shortest leg. Okay, so this is the face. Okay, this is the weld interface, and we also have depth of fusion. And after the depth of fusion, what we have all the way out here is called the heat affected zone. Okay, HAZ. All right. Now the next one we have is a groove weld. Now, some of the things are going to be the same and other things aren't. So the first thing we're going to have is a root. Okay, whether it's one pass or multiple passes, we're always going to have a root. Now they talk about root reinforcement. This means how much it sticks past the groove if we're not using a backing plate. Okay, now from the root to the toe, and the root to the toe is technically the size, and usually it's the thickness of the plate. But we can also have weld size if maybe we only have depth of preparation, maybe 1/2 of this size. So it could be maybe this plate is an inch, and we say depth of preparation is only 1/2 of that. Okay, so it doesn't go all the way through. All right, so we still have a toe and a toe here. So the toe and the toe, they actually show me where my weld meets my base material. Okay. Oh no, come back here. All right, and then I have a face. Okay. Now this is my reinforcement, right? My reinforcement is how much my weld metal comes above my base metal. That's considered reinforcement. Okay. This is my weld interface and my depth of fusion. Okay. And after my depth of fusion, I'm going to have around here going to be my HAZ, my heat affected zone. Now, what is this? The heat affected zone is where we're actually affecting the base metal at a molecular area, a molecular structure with heat. We're changing it. Okay, so it's about a lot of science, but we need to understand the heat affected zone is where things change. Okay, all right. Now that we understand that, we're going to talk about some basic joints. There are 5 basic joints: butt, corner, T, lap, and edge. Okay. The first one is a butt. We're butting the edges together. Corner. Okay. We're making a corner. We can have an outside corner. We can also have an inside corner. T joint looks like a T. Lap joint. We are overlapping. Okay. And the last one is edge, and we're going to put our weld on the outside edge. We don't normally practice that one because usually it's just bead on the outside. Okay. Now that we understand that, now we have what's called a position. Okay. Now, flat position. What are we talking about when we're talking about positions? We're not really talking about how our material is facing. We're actually talking about how the torch or the rod or the gun is in relationship to the metal, the weld metal, or the weldment, okay? So when we talk about flat position, we're actually saying that our rod or our gun is 90 degrees facing straight down to our weld metal, okay? If I'm looking at a butt joint, it's going straight down, okay? 90 degrees straight down, okay? If I'm talking about pipe, it's a little bit different, but we're going to talk about 1G. So 1F means it is flat. F means for fillet. 1, flat. G for groove. You guessed it. Come on, guys. You guys are smart. All right, so we're going to talk about, this is going to be 90 degrees, straight up and down, okay? Now, if we notice, this is still a T-joint right here, but it has to go sideways in order for us to be able to place it at a 90 degree, okay? So the plate moves, but our rod is at a 90 degree, okay? Now let's talk about horizontal, okay? Horizontal, we're moving our rod from left to right, okay? And the angle of the rod is 45 degrees, okay? So we're going left to right and 45 degrees. And the axis technically of our weld is horizontal. Now, if I'm going to do a groove, I'm going to go same thing, 45 degrees. Okay, so my angle is a 45 degree. Okay, my abbreviation for this is 2. So 2 is horizontal, F is fillet, 2G is horizontal groove. All right, let's look at vertical. Whenever we're talking about vertical up unless otherwise specified, okay? And we're going to move from the bottom of the weld up. Now, what is our angle for this? Our angle is technically a 90 degrees, and we're going to kick it up about 5 degrees, okay? So we're going to be kind of aiming a little bit up, okay? So we're going to be going up. Now, look at how it changed how my plate is being welded. Look how it changes when I'm doing my groove. Now, if I'm going to work on something that I want to go vertical up, I'm actually going to move from side to side. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, okay? All right, now the last one we have is overhead. Now, it doesn't mean that this has to be over our heads. What are we talking about, guys? We're talking about the position of our rod, our torch, or our gun. Now, if we look, okay, we're going to be pointing upwards, okay? And this is technically at a 45 degrees, okay? So this means if I'm welding underneath my car and I'm pointing my rod up or my torch up, it would be considered overhead, okay? It does not have to be over my head. All right, now I want you to be able to see how different positions affect different joints, okay? So the first one is a flat. This is a butt joint. It is considered a groove, okay? So we can go 90 degrees straight down. Our corner joint, it is a groove, okay? Because we have a little V right here. All right, we're going 90 degrees straight down. 1F, this is a fillet, okay? 90 degrees straight down. A lap joint, look how it changes our lap joint, okay? And our edge. Now, look at how we have horizontal. Horizontal butt, little Pac-Man for their corner. We can do outside corner and inside corner. T-joint, looks like an upside down T. And then look at our lap joint, okay? And then, of course, look at our edge. Okay, now, vertical. See how everything changes? Are we changing, if we look, okay, everything is 90 degrees here. This is all 45, right? This is all 90. This is all 45, okay? Let's make sure we got everything. I think we do. Oh, we get to work on some symbols, welding symbols. Welding symbols are like that decoder ring that you need to understand what's going on. Okay, so the first thing that we need for a symbol is a reference line. The reference line is usually about 2-inch horizontal line, and we want to make it long enough to hold all of the information that we're going to use. Okay, the next thing is an arrow. Okay, these are really important things. The arrow tells us where we need to weld. Okay, and when we read a weld or a welding symbol, we're going to read it from left to right. Okay, so there's two different sides when we talk about a symbol. The arrow side is the bottom part, or the other side, which is the top part. Now, this can get tricky, this can get confusing. It never moves. If my arrow moves from one side to the other, I still read this from left to right, and my arrow side stays the same, and my other side stays the same. So let me explain what the arrow side is. The arrow side means if I have a symbol down here, it means wherever this arrow is pointing is where I want my weld. Now, if I'm interested in having my symbol up here, it is on the other side, which means even though my arrow is pointing here, I'm talking about the opposite side. Hope this makes sense, guys. So let me do this. Arrow side, where the arrow is pointing. Other side is the other side, guys. Remember, welders thought of this. All right, so the first symbol, I'll come back here, we're going to talk about is fillet weld. Okay, a fillet is a triangle, and those of you who know me know that the up and down is on the left-hand side, otherwise you are an asshole. Sorry, guys, but that's how we remember it, and you'll never forget it. All right, so a fillet weld symbol is going to be in the center, okay? And then we need something to describe what to put, okay? So we know that this fillet weld is on, let's look at the other one. The fillet weld is on the arrow side. So wherever this arrow is pointing, that's where I'm going to put my fillet. Okay, now I need to describe this. I need to tell someone how big this needs to be. How small does it need to be? Where does it go? Okay, so the first number here that's on the left-hand side of my weld is the size. Now, I think we went over this a little bit earlier. Size of a fillet weld is measured from root to toe and root to toe, which is a leg, and it is measured by the smallest leg. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, let's look at this here. Come back. So if I say that I would like a 1/2 inch weld, I would like it a 1/2 inch wide and a 1/2 inch tall. Okay, and then unless otherwise specified, we always want an equal leg. But here's the thing, sometimes it's not always equal. So if they want an unequal leg, it'll be specified like this. I would like a 1/4 by 3/8 inch leg. Okay, so, but the thing is, it doesn't tell me, is it a 1/4 inch high or is it a 1/4 inch wide? Is it 3/8 inch high or is it 3/8 inch wide? Okay, so when we get something like this of an unequal leg, it has to have a detail or a drawing that tells me what it should be specified at. Okay, hope this helps. Now, we're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about length, okay, because that's another detail that we need to know how long it is, to what is it going to be, right? All right, so the number right next to the symbol to the right is going to be length. How long is it? Okay, so I have a 1/2 inch fillet weld on the arrow side, and it is going to be 6 inches long. But what happens if I have something like this? There's no other information here. Well, this tells me this is a continuous weld. Okay, that means wherever you put this 3/8 inch weld, I want you to make it from one side to the other. Okay, now if we have something like this, I might also have a drawing because maybe I need it to be 6 inches on one side or the other. And a lot of times it'll have a drawing, it'll have little hash marks or check marks on it to show you exactly where it goes. Okay? All right, well, that's the end of that. Take care, guys.